In this video we're going to talk about how to ignore files that you don't want to commit to Git. And for this we're going to use the .gitignore file. And if you work with other Git repositories, you've probably seen a .gitignore file included. And in this video you're going to learn how to use it. As an example, let's say I was working on my WordPress plugin and I had some unit tests for it. So I used something like Composer to require my unit testing framework. Alright, so now PHP unit is installed. And if we take a look at the files in my repository right now, you can see that Composer created this vendor directory, and it also created a composer.json file and a composer.log file. And I want to ignore some of these files. I don't want to include them in my version control. And basically everything that's in the vendor directory, I don't want to include. And since this is meant to be sort of a public plugin, I don't want to include the composer.log file as well. So if we just run a quick git status, you can see those three new files here, and the composer.log file and the vendor directory we don't want to include. So how can we go about this? The first thing we need to do is we need to create a .gitignore file, and it's just a hidden file because it starts with the dot, and then we can add some stuff. Each line we add here is a file or directory that we want to ignore. So first of all, I want to ignore everything that's in the vendor directory, including the directory itself. If I wanted to keep the vendor directory, and let's say I wanted to ignore every JavaScript file in there, I could do something like this. But in this case, I just want to ignore the directory itself and everything within it. And then I want to ignore the composer.log file, and in this specific case I am just going to do it like this. But say for some reason I had other log files, I could do the same, just use a star to reference everything ends with log. You can use wildcards in that way. So that's it, save the file, and if we go back here and run git status again, you can see now that there is a modified file, and that's because I already had the gitignore file, so I cheated. And then there is only one untracked file, and that's the composer.json file, the file that we want to keep. So that's how you can use .gitignore to ignore files. It's a really simple feature and it's very useful. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.